Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Amazing Race Episode 1 recap. Joining me tonight, we got Calbert. Calbert, how you doing tonight?
What's going on, everybody? Episode 1 of Season 34 in the books.
Yeah, it was. And wow, we got a lot to talk about just with the everything that went down and some of the new stipulations that are going to be happening this season. So I think that's going to take a major twist. But before we get into that, I also want to just note that Goldberg is not joining us tonight. He will be back next week. So unfortunately, no Goldberg again, but we will get him back. And I can tell you this, he enjoyed episode 1. So that's what he texted me. So yeah, we will get Goldberg back next week. But before we start this episode, we just want to go over the draft that happened. We weren't able to do it during our preview show like we normally do. So we kind of did it by text message the following day before the first episode aired. And Goldberg ended up with the first pick because he was the last place team. And Goldberg ended up taking Derek and Claire, Team Big Brother. So Goldberg with Derek and Claire. I had the second pick. I took Abby and Will. And Calbert, who'd you pick? I know who you picked, but you can announce it to everyone.
Luis and Michelle.
Correct. Okay. Luis and Michelle. So those are our picks going forward. So it'll be fun to see how the standings change. So, all right, Calbert, let's talk about the shocker that we had, because this is going to take, I think, a bit for this episode to talk about the changes that are going to be happening this season. So first, we did officially confirm no non-elimination leagues. How do you feel about that?
I think that's good. I really kind of like that. I kind of like the way, I mean, we'll kind of touch on it as we go on here, but the fact that they had, in this episode, you could choose your 3, whichever task you wanted to do, in whatever order you wanted to do it. I kind of like that too. And so, like, you had no idea whether you were ahead, whether you were behind, which one you hadn't possibly done yet. You know, I kind of like that. I kind of like the fact that it's each leg is going to be an elimination, because nothing drives me more nuts than, even if it's my own team that I picked. You know, if they finish last, this one's a non-elimination. We're going to take all your money. And you have to do a speed bump, but you're still in the race. Now you don't have that option. So I kind of like that. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I think last year we got an overload of non-elimination legs. So I think this year they really wanted to make an effort just to be, okay, we're going to add a lot more stakes to this year. We had so many non-elimination legs last year, and it wasn't really their fault, but they're pretty much making up for it. And that's why we have 12 teams, because there's not going to be non-elimination. So I like it. I think it's a good change. I like that change at least. But, we'll talk about the next one. But as far as that goes, I think that's a good move on their part, especially after the season we had last year. So second big change that we had is no roadblocks, no detours. You basically are going to get, from what the looks of it, you're going to get 3 tasks, and you can complete them any which way you want. Now, you kind of already gave your opinion a little bit, but why don't you further elaborate on that?
Yeah, so some teams, everybody started at the start line like they do, and so it started in Munich, like we knew it was going to. We kind of knew that was already kind of given away with some behind the scenes video and stuff. But some teams decided, okay, they would ask somebody, okay, where is this one, and then they kind of decided, old school with an actual map. Okay, we'll do this one first, we'll do this one second, and we'll do this one third. Or, we'll do the cutting of the log first, We'll do the.
Well, just in general, I mean, before we even go into the, all the
Yeah.
tasks, what is your take on just in general the whole the concept of no roadblocks, no speed bumps, none of that. It's just 3 tasks. You do them how you want. Do you like that change?
I think I think I could get used to it, but I'm a traditionalist, right? So I think if that is what they decide to do for the rest of the time, I guess that's okay. Because you wouldn't know, which is which. But here's the downside of that. You can't. I mean, you could switch. You could say, okay, this first task is hard. Let's try the second task. But then you're gonna have to go all the way back and finish the first task if it becomes too hard. Like you can't go, where if you had a detour, okay, this one's a little bit harder. Let's try the other one.
Right.
So like there's really no wiggle room as far as that goes. So I mean,
that's a good point. That's an absolutely good point.
Yeah, I could get used to it, but it would be if I were competing, like if you and I were on the team, I don't know, because theoretically you would want to do the I would guess you want to do the easiest one first, right? Okay, this is kind of how it's going to feel out, and then maybe see what another team is doing for the second task. Okay, do we think we can do that? Because you can make it that that's I guess that's the advantage of doing it this way, having it just be 3 tasks, is that you can make your decision there. Oh, what are they doing? Oh, they're putting a puzzle together. Okay, might be easy.
Right. Exactly. Like it's going to change like everything about the race. Like as it's like, can you imagine that you're thinking it's going to be this way and it's a totally new concept? So it's like any kind of strategy or planning you did is almost out the window in a sense, because now you got to do all 3 tasks. So if you struggle with one, or if you think one is just too hard, well, you can't get out of it anymore. You have to do it. And
Right.
In case in point with this episode, we're going to talk about it in a sec here, but you don't know where everything is. You have the map, obviously, but still, like, you're just wasting time if you go to one location and you decide, well, we can't really do it. You have to do it now. I don't think you can get out of it. And you'd be lucky if you're still not, still in the contest. So I think this is a very unique twist on the game for sure. So I'm very interested to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, it should be interesting. It should be interesting, and yet, for as much things change, some things still stay the same. For example, directions. For one particular team, not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, no. As we saw. Yeah, that's very, very good point. So it looks like they're keeping some of the COVID protocols the same. They're still using the charter flight. There looks like it's still going to be a lot of self-driving. So, but anyways, so all right, let's talk about the episode in itself here. So they started obviously in Munich, but we start off with what was that thing on the river there? That giant.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that. Hey, let's all ride this. Let's all ride this basically big vlog looking thing. Almost like a log boat type looking thing. It was weird, which I mean, hindsight makes sense now, but that was kind of a unique way to come on in. I was okay with that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're starting in They're starting in Munich, obviously, but they for the American series, this scramble, I guess, was the first time this has ever happened. But I'm guessing it's happened in other Amazing Races because the way this review is kind of sounding that it's happened before. But yeah, I don't know. It looked like a fun, as far as the start though, it looked like a fun water ride that they took down and then they go to the starting. So it looked like a fun way to get everybody going.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So yeah, Phil does the tasks. He says the tasks, and they're all inspired by Oktoberfest. There was 3 tasks. There was the one task called roll. Teams had to roll a beer keg through an obstacle course within 55 seconds to receive a puzzle piece. If teams were unsuccessful, they had to wait out a 2-minute penalty before making another attempt. For the second task, entitled Saw, teams had to use a 2-man saw to saw completely through a log to the beat of Bavarian music to receive a puzzle piece. This was located at the Sea House Beer Garden. And for the third task, which was titled Smash, one team member had to use the provided tools to free a puzzle piece from an ice block. This roadblock was at August Steiner Beer Garden. So, and the first one was at Luitpold Park. So, what exactly task do you, if you had your option and if you knew where you were going, what task would you start with?
I probably would have started with the chipping of the ice.
Yeah.
Because that way you get all your aggression out. Okay, that's not what every team did. But, like, it seems to be theoretically the easiest one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not being judged by if I were to do the obstacle course, I'm not being judged by the guy with the timer, which I thought he was a little generous with some of the some of the teams, because for some of them it looked like if the keg crossed before they did, it was okay. Mm-hmm. If the person crossed sometimes before the keg did, it looked like it was okay too.
Correct.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. The sign of the log, I probably would have held off till last, just because if you've never done it before, it can be difficult, which you could see. You could tell, which if anybody's done this, when they're chopping wood for a fireplace, for those of us that have fireplaces, you know, it's just taking a saw to it. You don't have an axe. So,
right.
You know, it's just one of those things. And so you let the piece of equipment do what it does. So I'm thinking of one team in particular, don't pull it. It's a push. It's a saw. So putting brunt force behind the saw isn't going to work.
It's a little flimsy too. I mean, it's sharp, but there's not a lot of give to it. So a lot of teams were just trying to bull rush through it, and you didn't need to do that. You wanted to do like nice and easy cuts, just, using your arms, not your whole body like some teams were doing.
Right.
I agree with you though. If I could pick one, I would have done Smash. I mean, first, that was the roadblock of the episode. So obviously pretty much anyone on your team could have done it. And then I think I would have done, I would have either done saw or roll. I guess it really doesn't matter to me, but maybe saw second and then roll third. I don't know. Maybe, either one. I did you like the tasks? Did you like them?
Yeah. I thought the task fit where they were.
Correct.
So you got beer. So
yes.
That's as German as it gets.
Yes.
You got ice. Well, it frickin' snows in Germany all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the wood. So, they have fireplaces in Germany, just like here, obviously. So, I thought that made sense. And that's the thing too. Like, if you were paying it, so for Saul in particular, if you were paying attention to what the judge was doing while he was kind of singing, he was kind of telling you and showing you how to move the saw while cutting the piece of wood.
Yes.
You got to watch his hands. Like, that's what I was like. To no one in particular, because I was yelling at the screen, I was like, he's telling you what to do.
Yeah.
He's telling you what to do. Just do it that way. And that's the thing too. And this is just guys being guys. So most of the girl teams had no problem with this, because they were like, oh, okay. The guys, most of the guy teams, or the ones that had guys on them, I'm thinking of my team in particular, my team was getting frustrated. My male teammate was getting frustrated, and damn near pulled his wife off the saw.
Yes.
To the point where she almost dropped it. And I was thinking of Marcus and Michael, who I would have thought, for being military guys, would have handled that much, much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like, to the point where I was yelling at the screen going, you're going to break the saw if you keep going at that pace, because that can happen. Like, I know it's a big saw and that chances are very, very unlikely that it would happen, but the way they were cutting it, not so much.
Correct. I as far as like, some of these teams that were screwing up on the saw, it's just like, man, you just wanted to yell at the TV and be like, come on, guys, come on. Obviously what you're doing is not working, and just relax. I think the adrenaline must have been just overflowing. I think when you're
I didn't hear it, at least in any of the clues that were given for it. I wonder if they thought that maybe it was like timed or something, because the way that some of them were going at it, they were like, we got to get this done now. Yeah. Which I guess maybe that could go back to the fact that it's a scramble and you don't know where you're at.
Right.
But I mean, taking a beat or two, and like some of the teams did, some of them actually watched what the other team was doing. Okay, look at what they're doing. See, look, they're going not slow, right?
Yes.
But it's not, hurry up, let's get this done while I try not to, lose a finger while I'm doing this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too. You don't want to do that. I think that the episode was good in the way that they tied all the 3 tasks to Oktoberfest. I don't know if the episode like wowed you with any crazy scenery or anything like that, but I think it was a solid way to start off the race. I don't think you want to, throw all your eggs in one basket right away. But
we've had that where sometimes the premiere episode, you're not going to hit a home run every time. I mean, I'm thinking of like season 31 or 30, where it's just to kind of get everybody involved. Okay, this is where we're going this year. This is kind of what we're doing.
Yeah.
I did kind of like that you got a piece of paper and it connected to where Phil was. So that was kind of cool. It wasn't really
cool. Yeah, I agree.
It wasn't just like, oh, he's here at some bar. It's, oh, these 3 pieces make a design.
Yeah. So let's go over let's start with the smash task and just kind of talk about some of the things that happened. Let's go over who did the tasks, and let's decide if it was a smart move or not. Let's start with Asta and Nina. Nina did the task. So I don't know, didn't really seem to affect them. That was, I believe, the first task that they did. But that I don't know, that didn't seem to really slow them down at that point. But We'll talk about it later, but at least I think that was a good move, putting her out there. I don't think it mattered. Aubrey and David did this task. Luis did this task, and almost like he was going crazy.
Hulk, I wrote a small note. I just wrote Hulk smash.
Yes.
Like if they timed this, he must have done it in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. He was using that firefighter training.
Yeah.
To good use there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I did kind of notice too that not everybody necessarily used the same piece of equipment to break the ice. Like there were some people that used something different. It still worked.
Yes.
But
some people used the pistol, some people just used the hammer.
Right.
All sorts of it was everybody kind of did it on their own. Rich did this task with Rich and Dom. Will did this task with Abby and Will. Tim did this with Tim and Rex. Marcus did this with Marcus and Michael. Molly did this with Emily and Molly. Linton and Sherrick. Linton did this. Quentin and Maddie. Quentin did this. The cheerleader team. Glenda did this task, and Derek did this task. Here's one task I think kind of made kind of screwed up here. I think Rex should have did this task because I don't think it was that bad. What do you think?
I think that's right. I think that's right. I think which that's going to be another interesting thing as we go along. Like, are they going to continue with the trend of, oh, this person has done so many, the partner is now required to do this one because partner A has already done so many.
Right.
So I that's what I thought. I thought like if not that they're weaker. And I know I know I spent a lot of time on the premiere episode for the preview just lambasting Rex Ryan.
Yes.
And I'll admit it right now, I was wrong, at least for 1 week.
Yes.
1 week, I was wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, he could have absolutely done this. I thought like I was surprised that for my team, I was surprised Michelle didn't do this. Like, it's not simple is a relative term. It's not a difficult task. It's take a hammer, hit ice, get the piece of paper out of the ice.
I think the weaker of the two definitely could have done this. I also think that if you're not good at attention to detail, this would have been the task for you because you didn't think. All you had to do was smash something to break off the piece and get it. I mean, it was not a hard task. I'm looking at anyone who's maybe the weaker link of the two.
Right.
I mean, Derek and Claire, I think, I don't know if it matters with them. Glenda, Lumumba, I don't think it matters. I mean, Quentin and Maddie, I don't know. Okay, so Linton, though. Linton's the father, right? He's the father, Linton.
Correct. Yep.
I think that was a smart choice because I'm going to think that Maddie's probably a little bit better shape, even though Linton looks to be in good shape.
Yeah, I was kind of impressed with them. I didn't and that's the hard thing with doing the premiere preview, which I mean, this is why we do it. Like, we have no idea outside of like some pictures and a little bit of backstory. We have no idea how each team's going to look. We can only kind of go off of pictures, but they were pretty impressive.
They were. I mean, they did very well. I mean, like I said, I kind of made it like, okay, so he's only 50. He's not like super old, but we couldn't really tell, how he was going to be. And, with those father-daughter teams, you always got to worry, like, are they going to argue and bicker? You just don't know. But they seemed pretty level-headed to me, at least in episode 1. So I was kind of impressed with them. Abby and Will, I mean, Will did it. Probably Abby should have did it, but that's okay, I guess. It's not terrible choice there. Rich and Dom, I think maybe Dom should have did that, and I have some thoughts on her. Luis did it. We already said, so I don't know. I think there's not a lot of bad choices, but I think Rex should have did this. I would have saved him for some tougher tasks, but we'll see. Maybe Rex has got something up his sleeve, so that's really all there is to say about that task. It really wasn't anything like, I don't know, too special. So let's talk about the second task here. Let's talk about the saw task. Now we definitely had some issues here with some teams, so I think we can kind of get into this. Saw, obviously we have to talk about the Army team, the brothers of Marcus and Michael, just not on the same page here. Is this something you see as a detriment to them?
Possibly. I mean, I think the thing that which we were both pretty close to possibly picking them.
Yeah.
As our team.
Yeah. It was like, I didn't want to get burned. Like, I know we didn't pick the police officers, but we didn't want to get burned by, we were high on them last year.
Yeah. Yeah. So, for as many times as they said, which their brothers, I'd have to go back and rewatch it just for half a second. For as many times as I believe Marcus said, I've been to Munich, I trained in Munich, I've been here, I kind of know it a little bit. I don't know like the major streets or major events, but like we've done this, because that's where a lot of people go for basic training and stuff. I would have thought that they would have been much better at this, because this is an attention to detail thing.
Yeah.
And it's not like a bomb's gonna go off, pardon the pun, if you don't get the log cut. But like, man, good thing nobody was like standing near them, because there was some bickering already.
Yes.
Going, oh man, what are you doing? Like, don't. It's a push. Don't pull.
Yes.
That would concern me. That would concern me. I know we haven't done power rankings yet, but like if had I taken them, I'd be really, really, really concerned. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Luis and Michelle didn't do great with this one either, but that's concerning. This is only, and it's
only one. This is not
even
in the
grand scheme of Amazing Race things. Cutting a piece of wood is, towards the bottom of doing something that's simple for Amazing Race, as far as Amazing Race standards go. Outside of like maybe painting something, I'm trying to, we had a couple painting challenges last year.
Yes, we did.
So like besides that, like Portugal, this is something that it should be simple. And I actually thought that's what they were. I thought that they were going to do that one first. And, but they chose not to, and that's I don't know. I don't like the way things are looking for them already.
You're talking about Marcus and Michael.
Marcus and Marcus and Michael. Yeah,
there was a not heavy emphasis of them bickering, which is never really. I mean, we also have to keep in mind the editing.
That's true.
That's true. Can go either way. But I mean, we'll talk about them once we do the finish line. But yeah, this was an eye opener. Let's talk about Rich and Dom. This is another team that had, oh my goodness, for motivational speakers to be like this, I don't know, in the hole, so to speak. They were in the hole quite a bit this episode, and then this task was not easy for them either.
That's true. That's true. And there was a lot of praying to God by this team on this task in particular.
They didn't understand.
I was concerned that they might actually like pass out, because they were trying so hard.
Yeah.
They
were. They were. they were doing it forever, like
Yeah.
for a very, very long time, and just could not. I don't know. Something wasn't clicking for them.
Right.
And then the other one, I guess you kind of already mentioned it with Luis and Michelle, but I think theirs was just a case of Luis was overpowering Michelle. And I mean, yeah, they had some issues. They definitely had issues. They had a couple teams pass them. One in particular was my team, Abby and Will, who got there after them, but was able to finish before because they did the nice slow and steady. So
I got the feeling with some of them, it's like they've never, which maybe they haven't. Mm-hmm. They've never cut wood.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Which is maybe, were you a little surprised though that Luis wouldn't have cut wood before?
A little bit, yeah, because especially being a fireman, that's what I was like. Because when I didn't necessarily know for the behind the scenes stuff. Like, we knew that they had to cut wood, but like I wasn't 100% sure that like both of them had to do it, because we weren't sure. Like we only saw like it was just a piece of wood. So, and I mean, it was a decent sized saw, but like a person maybe could have done that. You know, maybe the other person sets up the log, right?
Yes.
But and that's why I was surprised. I really was, like, because she could have gotten seriously hurt, especially with the jerk that he was doing with it, to the point where like she had to drop the saw.
Yeah, she could have.
And I was just like, wow. I'm like, all right, man, just take a beat, calm down. Like, she's either, and that's the thing too. Like, you know, we don't necessarily. This is a good early small test to see who can do what, you know. And so, like, you know, that would be I was putting myself in that part where I'm like, you know, okay, it's don't jerk it. It's a motion thing, you know.
Yeah.
So but
on the same page, but it's not slow and steady almost, you know. You want to
rush.
A lot of teams just rush through it, and you could tell that.
I was surprised with as much wood as I would have anticipated him to do for like breaking down a door, you know, or maybe window, you know.
Yeah.
I would have thought that he would have been that would have been something that he'd been like, okay, she's never done it, maybe, or she's limited with her experience. You know, I'll kind of show her what to do, and then we'll kind of just go about it. But yeah, that's when I started getting very concerned, because it was taking them so long. To your point, it was taking them so long to do this. But as we found out, and as we now know, they got to finish. They have no choice. So it kind of in typical Amazing Race style, like, you don't even necessarily know. I mean, even though it's on the map, you don't necessarily know where that other task is. How long will that take us? Because now we have to go back and do this one, you know. So I don't know. I was a little concerned. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, week one, hard to judge on week one, but you can tell some things. Well, let's talk about, okay, so Linton and Sherrick obviously aced this task. I think they were kind of the ones where the editing team made it a point to say how good they were with just doing their nice slow and steady motion. So they absolutely did. I think Derek, Claire, and Glendon and Lumumba also obviously nailed this. So pretty solid effort from them. I don't know. You got anything else to add about the saw task that we may have missed? Or
the guy made me laugh. The guy with the green hat that, like,
he was funny. He
made me laugh.
Yes.
But yeah,
when
that's about it.
Music,
he was okay. He's a character.
All right, let's go to the final task of the episode here. I mean, a lot of teams aced it on their first try, and a lot of teams had it on their second try. But one in particular, Asta and Nina, this is where they got in trouble. It took them, 4 times, 5 times? Yeah, and this is where the downfall of them happened.
Although Rich and Dom also kind of struggled with this one.
Rich and Dom as well. Yeah, they really struggled on this as well. Yeah, this was a rough one for them. I think a lot of teams were just trying to, there was kind of a way you wanted to do it. You also didn't want to really bull rush this. There was times when you could, like up the hill and down the ramp, but then there was times where you're going through the zigzag that you want to be more careful and precise with your movements. So a lot of teams, I mean, Marcus took out one of the hay bales too. So
yeah, which was surprising. And we had one team when they were racing apologize to another team.
Yes,
for taking up space.
Yeah,
it's a race at that point. You're not. I mean, you really aren't necessarily. And I was like, why are you apologizing? You're not racing the team. You're racing the clock.
Correct. Yeah, you're not racing the other team. At least at this point, you're not. So I thought that was funny.
I kind of thought that for some of those hay bales too, I thought they'd be a little bit. Well, I thought maybe they might be a little bit more strict, especially for like going up the hill, because some of them like they kind of went around it, but
yeah,
I think they were a little hesitant about like, oh crap, I touched the hay bale. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they didn't seem to get penalized for any of it.
Yeah,
which was kind of surprising. I don't know. There really wasn't too much to talk about. A couple people biffed. I mean, I think Quentin biffed, didn't he? But he still rolled it past the finish line, so it counted.
He did. Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
That's why I think that it depended, kind of like with every other test that we've kind of seen with Amazing Race. It might have been. I mean, we can't tell because of time, but like if you did it first, if this was the first test you did, it seemed like the guy that said go was a little bit more strict in the beginning, and then kind of towards the end he was like, "Oh, you finished it. Your body didn't go. Your entire body didn't cross, but your head did. You crossed the plane of. It's kind of like in the NFL. The ball crossed the plane of the end zone. It counts. It doesn't have to go over the line. It just has to
get over. Yeah, it just has to be the tip. Yep.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe that was just me, but I did notice that. I was like, oh, gee, that team has to do it again. Yes. But he let the other team go without any trouble.
Correct.
So.
Correct. So, I think it was I think this was probably my favorite of the 3, just because it, there was more competition. It felt like with this. So.
I liked the ice chipping more.
Well, that was good too. I mean, it was a nice, easy roadblock.
I would say this would be 2. This was 2 on my list. But yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So then obviously the pit stop, you connected all the 3 pieces to make the Angel. It is the Fredenzangle, which was in Munich. That's where Phil greeted the teams. Just I wanted to note too, this was the 400th leg of the Amazing Race, so that's pretty amazing.
That's impressive.
Yeah, nice feat there. Okay, so then first place came Team Big Brother. They pretty much aced most of the tasks. They were impressive. Second place was Glenda and Lumumba. Third place was the cheerleaders, the Rams cheerleaders, Quentin and Maddie. Fourth place was the father-daughter team, Linton and Sherrick. Fifth place was the identical twins, separated at birth, basically, Emily and Molly. Sixth place was the military brothers, Marcus and Michael. Seventh place was Tim and Rex, Team T-Rex. Eighth place was the high school sweethearts, Abby and Will. Ninth place was the motivational speakers, Rich and Dom. 10th place was Louis and Michelle, dancing married couple, and another dancing couple. I can't remember. I think they're engaged, but was Aubrey and David coming in 11th. And getting eliminated is Asta and Nina. Didn't they thought they had such a smart strategy by asking, where directions were to all three, but it kind of seemed like it slowed them down.
That must have damn near that took time.
Yes.
It seemed like that's probably like an hour, even though they were standing right next to people and they were speaking English.
Yes. I don't understand how long that had to take. Jeez. I just, that's not what I would have done. That is definitely not what I would have done. I would have just found the first one and then, just, find the first one, worry about the second one after you finish the first.
I actually thought I'm going to give Team T-Rex credit here, which I can't believe I'm doing this already. I'm already throwing enough flowers at them, but I'm going to give them credit. They got in their car and they just went.
Yep.
That's probably what I would have done.
Yes.
That's, okay.
No time to wait.
Mm-hmm.
Worst case scenario, we'll get lucky and find one. And then we'll have time to look at where the second one is after. I agree. I just don't think, if someone's right there, just get directions to one. Don't try to get directions to all three. Yeah. I just don't see how that was a good move from them. And they struggled, obviously. It wasn't even directions. It's just tasks too. I think they were not long for the race to begin with. So, I mean, it was close, though. It was definitely close with Aubrey and David. Like, they were.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Minutes apart. So, what team? I guess what team impressed you the most? I'm not really. You don't have to say Derek and Claire because they took first, but who was the team?
I was actually impressed with Glenda and Lumbamba.
Yes.
Lumbaba.
Yeah.
They were impressive. Like I wasn't exactly sure what to expect from them, and I was like, wow, they're pretty good. Now it's only 1 week, and we're gonna overreact to, we can only overreact to what we've seen, kind of like week 1 of the NFL.
Yes.
I was just like, wow, I kind of had them kind of towards the middle, if I remember correctly, with my preview. But they were like, nope, we're just gonna do this. Cool, I'm tall, I'm short, we'll make this work.
Yeah. Well, they were. I mean, they were solid all over the place. I mean, they didn't really have a slip up here. So, I mean, if it holds up, they're going to be a team to deal with possibly. Mm-hmm. So, I think the team that impressed me the most was Linton and Sherrick. Like, they were just very cool, calm, and collective. And 4th place for them they did a pretty solid job. I don't know if it's hold up.
Yeah. I was. They were right there. They were right there for me.
Yes. They're solid job there. Emily and Molly too. They impressed me taking 5th. I did not expect anything out of them, to be honest. I thought their story was just, going to overtake, them being on the race. But they proved that they can compete, and they did a solid job taking 5th. So, all right. Let's go through the power rankings. Why don't you start with your team 11? This is gonna be
team 11. I have Aubrey and David, just based off of how they finished. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to take them a little bit to kind of get in the groove a little bit. And you can kind of see that with this episode.
Yeah.
But hey, they're still in it.
Yes. Yes, they survived. My team number 11 is going to be actually Rich and Dom. I mean, the crying. I mean, they were crying, right? Or she was crying at least.
She was crying.
Yeah. First episode, you're already crying. You're already going through a lot of struggles. I don't have much faith in this team. I think they're my 11th place team right now. Something's not right, or something's not there with this team. So I got them at 11. My 10th place team. Well, this is where it gets tough here. Wow. Yeah, I guess I got. Oh man, I had Aubrey and David picked in the top 3, I think, when we did our preview. But I'm gonna put them at 10. Disappointing start. I think they're gonna turn it around though. So I think they can definitely jump up in my power rankings for sure. So who's your 10th place team?
My 10th is my own team. It's Luis and Michelle. I was really concerned that they weren't going to get the log done. I was very concerned, and I was even more concerned because of where they finished. That if they had to go with a foot race, I wasn't exactly sure that they'd win that race. But they're 10th. I think they're just kind of like Aubrey and David. I think they're just kind of feeling each other out as far as, okay, what can we do? Luckily this is a week-to-week thing, so hopefully they don't stay there too terribly long. Otherwise, I'm gonna have heart palpitations the entire time.
Yeah.
But they're my 10.
Okay. So far chalk with you. All right. Who is your? I believe you started off with 9 now.
9. I have Abby and Will. I had to put them somewhere. I think they're a good team.
So you got them lower than Rich and Dom.
Yes, I do. Yep.
Okay. All righty. I think that's a slight there, but hey, it's your power ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. My 9th place team, I'm gonna put Luis and Michelle. I think they're a little better than what they've shown. I'm hopefully they'll figure it out. I just, they had a little hiccup on the saw, but it's one task. A lot of these teams can rebound. I mean, we've seen that. So I'm going to go with them at number 9. Number 8, I'm actually going to go with Tim and Rex. A lot better than what I thought they'd do. Rex losing 50 pounds definitely is going to help, but I can't put them too high. They got to earn it, they got to prove me wrong. I think Tim's in really good shape. I mean, they can go far. And if Rex lost 50 pounds, he's taking this serious at least. So, Rex was definitely entertaining like he always is. So, I'm going to put them at a surprising number 8. Who's your 8th place team?
My team is Rich and Dom. See, so I didn't have them too terribly high. Like, I'm not crazy.
That's true.
But they did do about as well as I thought they could for this week. I agree with you. I don't have them going terribly far, but they did pretty good.
Okay. Who do you got at 7?
7, I have Marcus and Michael. I'm very concerned about them. I'm just putting them there because I hope that it was just a 1-week hiccup, but I'm concerned.
Okay.
So I have Marcus and Michael, the brothers at 7. I don't like what I saw. And especially for being people that have traveled as much as it sounds like they have.
Yeah.
They got lost a couple times trying to get from one task to another task. I think they're still doing the roundabout, at least one of them anyway.
Well, yeah, they took a little bit to get to the finish line too.
Yeah.
Yep, went the wrong way. At least they corrected themselves pretty quickly. My number 7 team actually is going to be Emily and Molly. They impressed me, but I had them so far down that they're going to have to work their way up quite a bit. I'm not just going to shoot them up to where they ended. So, as of right now, my power rankings are at 7, but they definitely surprised me, and that's why I got to move them up to 7. 6, I'm going to put my own team, Abby and Will. Just kind of an okay week for them. It kind of seemed like I don't know, like we didn't see them get lost or anything, but it seemed like it took a little bit longer for them to get to the tasks. So I'm guessing they had some type of I don't know, directions. They just were not finding the directions fast enough. So that's why I'm going to put them at 6, kind of right in the middle. I'm not sure what I'm going to expect from them going forward. So I'm going to put them at 6. But they are super fans, so it's got to help them out somewhat. Who's your number 6?
My number 6 is Emily and Molly. I pretty much agree with you. We just kind of disagreed a little bit on the order.
Sure.
Just a little bit. I wasn't as high on this team.
Yeah.
I think I had them kind of towards the bottom. So for them to finish 6th in my power rankings for the first week, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought when I put them at 7. Who's your 5th?
My 5th team is Tim and Rex. I legit got this wrong. I will admit that right now. I had them as I'm sure I'm getting tweets as we speak. I had them finishing dead last. I was wrong. I'm holding my hand up in the air. I admit I was wrong. I didn't think they would do as well as they even did. But they did really, really well.
Wow. All right. My 5th, I am going to go with Linton and Sherrick. Very smooth communication. They absolutely surprised me, but similar to Emily and Molly, I'm not just going to bump them up super, super high. So I'm going to put them at 5, but they're trending upwards big time. So 5 is not a slight by them by any means. So number 4, I'm going to go with Marcus and Michael. I think, yes, they had some disagreements about, the saw. They got lost a few times, which is kind of a red flag. But I also cannot ignore the fact that they were cruising in first place for a while. So they were definitely doing the tasks pretty quickly. So if they can get their navigation issues out of the way, they are going to be a team to be reckoned with. So that's why I got them at 4. I don't think I can. I don't think I can take them any lower right now. So I'm going to put them at 4. All right. Who's your 4th place team?
My 4th team is Quentin and Maddie.
Okay.
They were kind of a like we were talking about the kind of surprise teams. They're kind of like my Emily and Molly. I wasn't exactly sure what I get out of them, but they did pretty good. Nothing really wrong with communication that I can recall. I mean, they just kind of went and did, went about their business.
Correct. Who do you got at 3?
3, I have Linton and Sharik. They did really, really well. I was probably the most surprised if T-Rex was my surprise team, this team was right up there. It'd be right behind them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they're definitely. I can't argue with that spot you have them at right now because they were absolutely solid this episode. My 3rd place team, I'm actually going to go with Glenda and Lumumba, another very surprising team. But I got to put them in the top 3 because of the fact that they didn't argue. They just did the task and they accomplished it super, super fast. So Glenda and Lumumba are my number 3 team. My number 2 team is Quentin and Maddie. They look to be in great shape, obviously, and the physicality I don't think is going to hurt them too much. And we really haven't got to see them at mental tasks yet, but I don't know. They seem to do pretty well in the first episode. So I'm going to put Quentin and Maddie, the cheerleaders, at 2. Who's your number 2 team?
My number 2 is Glenda and Labumba. You're exactly right. They just went about their business. Okay, this is what we got to do. Okay, ready, go.
I mean,
and they kind of just put their head down when went to work.
There wasn't
any arguing. There wasn't any. Let's talk about this. Let's think about this. They were kind of like Team Rex, where they were just like, let's get in the freaking car and just we'll figure out where to go when we get there.
Exactly. And I got to do this. La 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 Lumumba.
Yep, I knew that was going to come because that's exactly what was going on when they got announced. I had that song in my head the entire time.
Yeah. Yep, had to do it. All right, and obviously, your first place team
is Derek and Claire.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Goldberg did it again.
Yep.
I don't know how he does it. He figures it out. I know it's only 1 week, but.
Well, see, okay. So now I think this team was actually like, I can see this one. I can finally see why he's picking this team. First 2 seasons, I couldn't figure it out. Like, Lulu and Lala and Will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't figure this one. I get. They're they've been on reality TV before. They're used to the cameras. They're young. They're in shape. They're solid. They're solid right now. They're going to be tough to beat, no question. And they are also my number one right now, obviously. So I think they're going to. I don't know if they're winners. I don't know if they're going to win it, but they are definitely cruising right now. So we'll see if they can keep up pace. But yeah, very solid team, and Goldberg with a nice pick there. I don't know. Anything else you want to mention on this list? I mean, we just gave our power rankings. I think we did a pretty solid job.
I will say, judging that we weren't exactly sure that they were even going to do a season this for the tail end of 2022. The fact that all 3 of our teams survived,
yes,
even if it wasn't necessarily pretty, with my team in particular.
Correct.
That's a small win. I'll take that because you don't want to be the first team out.
No. First episode. Can you imagine how long that's got to go on for? Oh,
God. Yeah. So, I have a feeling like there were a couple seasons, where we're like, yep, that's the team. They're gonna win.
Yes.
We kind of, or at least they're going to finish in the top 2. You can kind of see that. I don't get that feeling necessarily thus far. I know it's only 1 week. Thus far, it's not like, oh, this team is far and away better than the other teams.
I think, okay, so if we're just going by, okay, we need at least 2 weeks to decide who's far and away.
Yeah.
But really, it's kind of like the NFL right now. There's a lot of teams that are just like, okay, we haven't seen the best of you yet, but we also haven't seen the worst of you either. So it's like, I don't know, besides Derek and Claire, and I don't know, Glendon Lumumba looks really good, but I got to see 1 more week. So I think Derek and Claire are obviously the top dogs right now.
Sure.
But,
yep.
And Glendon Lumumba, obviously, you got to put him at 2. But everybody else, to me, it can just kind of go either or. So I was impressed with a lot of teams and not so impressed with some others. But we got to see, if it keeps up for week 2. So I think the power rankings will be a lot more clear after next week. So
I think that's right. I mean, I think that's the thing about them is that, especially early, they change like the stock market.
Yeah.
1 week you're up, 1 week you're down.
Yes.
And especially now, like I know we generally say this, especially when it comes to the Amazing Race, especially early on. It's just survive in advance. Doesn't have to be pretty.
Yes.
There's got to be a little bit of prettiness now with this, because you are going home, because every leg is not an elimination now. You finish last, you're going home. See you later, goodbye. Thanks for coming.
Correct.
So I don't know, like
we're missing with them.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. Like, I mean, we're probably. I mean, you and I are pretty veterans as far as this goes with the show. Like, just because you finish first 1 week doesn't mean you're going to finish first the next week. So even though Derek and Claire did really, really well, and they look like possibly the team to beat, they may not. They may struggle this next week.
They could screw up really bad.
Yeah,
you just never know.
Right. So I mean, but I think that's going to be the motto of this season is just kind of survive in advance. I know that's kind of our motto,
especially with this
every season. But this year in particular, like if you don't finish last, you're good. Like we can fix it. We can fix whatever our issues were.
You can fix it. You can fix it going forward. So Asta and Nina, I mean, this team, I don't know, maybe they would have been entertaining. I don't know, but clearly they thought they were the smartest people in the room, kind of with the
and
they got
I mean,
direction.
you knew, or I had a pretty good feeling that if they didn't complete the obstacle course with the keg in after the third try, they were going to be done. Like that doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. Even if the scramble would have been on the opposite side of the city.
Correct.
I knew they were in trouble. I even said to the TV, I'm like, they're in trouble. They're probably going home. They don't know it yet. Which that's another thing, by the way, just for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Was that pit stop actually underground? Because it didn't look like it was underground to me. It looked like it was just like an abandoned.
Well, I think they had to take the underground tunnel to get to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
So I was gonna be like, that doesn't look like underground to me, but okay, yeah. So because a couple teams said that, and I was like, underground, what?
But didn't Aubrey and David pass Asta and Nina going to the pit stop?
Yes.
Because Asta and Nina actually got the task done first, I believe.
Correct.
But
yeah,
Aubrey and David they found Phil quicker, so that was actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, which that's the other thing too. Like, don't debate where Phil is. Phil will tell you where Phil is.
Right.
Oh, I think he's over here. No.
Right.
He's usually, like, if it says he's going to be under a statue or on top of a mountain or on some steps, that's usually where he is. Like, there's no, like, he's kind of like the gnome. Like, there's really no hiding him. Like, he's not gonna. He's not there to trick you.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, some teams got confused by the underground part where they had to go, the underground tunnel to get to him. Other than that, I like the fact that we had a place change right at the end there. That was kind of cool. You don't always see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Calbert, where are we going next week?
Good question. We are going to. Give me 1 second.
I'm imagining
I'll tell you where.
Somewhere in Europe still.
We are going to Austria.
Okay.
Teams explore the beauty of Austria and must learn a traditional wedding dance and yodel.
Oh boy. Wedding dance. Well, you know who's going to hate those.
Which that goes into the fact of this would have then explain why there have been so many dancing teams.
Yep, 4 dancing teams at least. So, well, okay. I think the cheerleaders might have a shot to take first this week.
Yodeling. Oh, that could be challenging too.
Yeah, yodeling. Oh yeah, depending on how picky they are. So, well, sounds like fun. I'm excited for episode 2 because I think it's
Yeah,
I mean,
I thought this was
we're only at our normal 11 teams now, so
right.
That's what we have to think about. So, long way to go, long way to filter out who's bad and who's not. So,
what would you give the episode out of 10?
For an opener, I think with the twists definitely helped it. It was pretty fun as far as like best opener ever. Probably not. I'd give it a 6 out of 10.
That's what I gave it. Yep, I gave it a 6 out of 10. I liked the fact that it was that you could pick the order of whatever test you wanted to do, and I liked the fact that every leg there's no more non-eliminations. So yeah, was it the best one ever? No.
Right.
But it was a good season premiere to get the blood going.
Yes. Similar to last year's, right? In London.
Yeah.
And
correct.
It wasn't anything crazy, but it got like you said, the juices going. So 6 out of 10. That's about right. I'm hoping Austria picks it up a little bit though. So, and we'll see. We'll get a better idea how this scramble is going to work too. So, going forward, I think we're either going to learn we're gonna start liking it more, or we're just gonna, by the end of the season, we're probably just gonna hate it, and we're probably gonna be like, well, bring the old format back. So,
right.
So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I'm still kind of open to it. I'm not, as of right now, I'm just like, but I'm open to, it.
Yeah, I
better.
don't. It's not like my when we're picking the preview for the teams. It's not like I hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate
Right.
it yet. I'm not there yet.
Exactly. I want to see more of it and kind of get a feel for it. So
yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel. So, all right, we will be back with Goldberg next week. I would think so. Episode 2 this Wednesday. Hopefully a review a little quicker than this episode came out, but who knows? Who knows? But anyways, Calbert, any final comments before we sign off here?
Good season premiere. Looking forward to episode 2, and all the teams that we picked survived. Good start.
That is a good start. We're all in it still, so that helps viewer interest for sure.
Right.
So. Right. All right, and with that one, we will see you next week. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.